Oh, I've got an exciting video for you today. Make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that's multiple streams of wealth. Stay tuned. Now, you must be asking yourself, Frank, what are you talking about, man? By the way, my name is Frank Thomas, and I talk about wealth generation strategies, and today is a doozy, and it's all about creating multiple streams of wealth. It's exactly the same thing as generating multiple streams of income, but I just really don't like the word income because it associates with, ooh, you make the money, you work hard, you make the money, you break your back, you spend the money because you gotta live and you got nothing. So that's why I don't like that expression. So I like to say multiple streams of wealth, because multiple streams of wealth is talking about the fact that we're building something that is everlasting, and it's going to make it so we can enjoy more of our life. Let's get into this and unpack this topic of multiple streams of wealth. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that talk about, oh, you just got to buy laundromats, or you got to buy real estate, or I'm reading one of Robert Kiyosaki's books, and it's great, but what happens if you haven't got $100,000 to invest into something? You got to start somewhere. Today, I'm going to be telling you all about that, and I'm going to be looking at this from almost like more of a higher level. I'm not going to dive deep and say, this is the thing you got to do. First off, in my opinion, to create multiple streams of wealth, and the whole idea behind multiple streams of wealth, by the way, is creating streams of money coming into you that don't require you to sacrifice more and more of your time. That's kind of the concept of this. But in the beginning, time is your most valuable asset. If you haven't got a lot of skills and you haven't got a lot of money, time is your most valuable asset. You need to make your time worth as much as possible. So the first thing you want to do is you want to raise your skills and abilities to a higher level. You want to become more expensive for your services per hour, because your skills and your services is your second most valuable asset. Time is important, but if you're only earning, let's say, $15 or $20 an hour, and you can earn $50 an hour, you can earn more than twice what you would normally earn in the first scenario, in the same time frame, of course. So we have to consider the fact that we need to make our time worth more and more and more. And I'm going to challenge you and tell you that you can make your time worth thousands of dollars per hour. Frank, oh, that's impossible. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. It's not. You just have to find a way to focus your talents in such a way that you give maximum impact and value to the most number of people for that same hour. Also, too, you have to consider, if you are in a relationship with somebody, let's say you're married, consider your spouse as well. That other person, let's say, for instance, my wife, she's an important factor to this. As far as I'm concerned, everything that applies to me applies to her. We try to make her skills worth more, because if both of us are working towards a common goal, then what happens is we multiply our efforts. That's what multiple streams of wealth is all about. Yes, you're still sacrificing time in the beginning, but you gotta start somewhere. So moving forward, we want to make our time worth as much as physically possible. At the same time, the third tip I'm going to be giving you to creating multiple streams of wealth is you have to get wise about your money. You have to learn more of how to invest your money in good, sound investments that are going to give you the best return as well. Because you want your money to work as hard as you do. That's where we're going with this. Eventually, we want to get to the point where if we want to buy laundromats, we can. If we want to buy real estate, we can. If we want to buy businesses, we can. But we need the initial capital to do just that. Now, you're going to hear a lot of gurus talk about the fact you can do things with no money down, or you could do it with the OPM, other people's money and that. But let me tell you something. Every time you get other people involved, it becomes complicated. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I've learned from experience that you got to get your tribe on board, and your tribe is your immediate family, and keep them as value partners in your propositions in your business dealings, and try to keep it to that. Now, you will have to work with other people. I actually work in other businesses. I have ownership in other businesses, and I work with other people, and that's fine. It's very above board, and everything is clear cut. But when you start getting into the zone of investing other people's money, now you have a fiducial duty to be very responsible with that money, and it can put you into turbulent waters very quickly. You want to avoid that at all costs. This actually leads me to my next point, and I was just talking about it, getting your tribe on board. Yes, you need to make sure that your spouse or your significant other is in 100% agreement with you. If the two of you are not on the same agenda, you're in trouble. You're in trouble before you earn a dollar, because you guys will not have values and expectations that meet up. You guys need to be literally on the same level. So that's really, really important. It's important to get your tribe on board. If you still have kids in the household, you got to get them on board too. Maybe you got to sacrifice some things that cost money that you need to save, because you're trying to do a greater thing. There's a lot of inspirational videos on YouTube about families who have joined the FIRE movement. They become financially free and independent in under 10 years, but they needed to get their tribe on board, and that included their kids. They would have vision boards, and they would put stuff on their fridge. They would have a clear-cut idea of where they're going. And that's my next point. You need to have goals. How can you get anybody else on board with your hopes and dreams if you haven't got any goals of your own? You got to build goals that not only match your desires of the future, but the desires of your tribe's future as well. At my stage in life, really and truthfully, it's my wife and myself. So it's a lot simpler for me. If I still had 3 children in the household, I had to consider all my decisions with them involved as well. So you need to get your whole tribe on board. Before we get into our bonus, and you got to stick around for the bonus, let me ask you a quick question. Have you subscribed to this channel yet? Be sure you do. I love putting out these videos and helping you out. And if you subscribe, you get immediate notice every time a new video comes out. So if you don't want to subscribe, at least like the video if you think it's bringing value to you. Let's get into our bonus. Eventually your savings will become an asset that becomes valuable to you, and it'll be valuable enough that you need to figure out how to invest with it properly. So it's important for you to learn how to invest that in the areas that you'd be most interested in, which means you need to become educated. Really think about what would interest you in terms of investments. There are so many different investments available that it's really hard for me to say that you got to do this and don't do that. I'm not much of a real estate guy. I don't really like the idea of investing into properties and renting them out. That's not really my thing. But I'm very interested in business. So I'm vested into businesses, and I'll usually get interest into a business, not necessarily by buying into that business, but by bringing my skills to the business and providing valuable input to that business, and then I start gaining value in the business. I start having ownership into the business. And I've been very, very fortunate in the past. Let me give you an example. There was an oil business here in town that I was working with years ago. I could see that they had good management in place, and I was their IT person at the time. So I was putting a lot of intellectual investment into the company, and I had asked them if they ever thought of going public, that I'd really like to get in before they go public. And the president of the company assured me that they were going to offer me a position when they went public, and they actually did. I will tell you, in a year, I literally 10x'd my investment into the company. So it's important for you to find the financial vehicle that you're interested in, and that requires financial education. That, your financial education could be that you're investing into stocks or ETFs, like exchange traded funds, or you're into options, or you are buying real estate, or you're buying and selling websites or other businesses, like even small venture things. But make sure, what I would recommend you to do is to stick with things that you know something about. I knew something about IT, so I've always, when I've invested my time or my financial interests into a company, I've brought what I know on IT and my skill set as my advisor to making good decisions. So there you have it. That's how you start building multiple streams of wealth. This is a topic that I'm definitely going to be talking a heck of a lot more about, but I wanted to introduce the concept to you and kind of give you that groundwork. Just as a quick recap, we looked at the fact that time is your greatest asset, your skills and your abilities are right behind it. You got to get your tribe on board and got to get that financial education so you learn how to invest what will become your most valuable asset, and that's your actual financial savings. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you in the next video. And hey, I did a series of time phases of life and what's the most important things when it comes to investing. I've got it on the screen now. If you click on that, it'll take you to the playlist. Enjoy. We'll talk to you and see you there. Bye-bye.